So the charges against Herman Cain just continue to mount, and I realize, I said the other night I just didn't want to talk about this garbage, but there is a tangential issue to this sexual harassment. There's a new study released today, I think. Yeah, I think it was released. Yeah, released today, earlier today, by the American Association of University Women, AAUW. And it's about sexual harassment in middle schools and high schools in this country. And according to the AAUW survey, it's become an epidemic. The student-on-student sexual harassment that is, according to the study, pervasive in America's middle schools and high schools. During the 2010-2011 school year, the one, we're in 2011-2012 now, but last school year, 48%, almost half of students in grades 7 through 12 experienced some form of sexual harassment in person or electronically via texting, email, or social media, according to the national survey. The survey says that harassers often thought they were being funny, but the consequences for the people who were the objects of this harassment, according to the survey, was wrenching. Nearly a third of the victims said the harassment made them feel sick to their stomachs, affected their study habits, or, that line that almost all parents hear from middle schoolers, I don't feel like going to school today, Mom or Dad. Why not? Oh, I just don't want to. The reluctance to go to school at all once this kind of activity starts. And according to the director of the research on this report for the AAUW, quote, it's reached a level where it's almost a normal part of the school day. It's somewhat of a vicious cycle. The kids who are harassers often have been harassed themselves, end quote. Now, the survey was conducted last May and June, this year, 2011, asked a little over 1,000 girls and 963 boys from public and private schools nationwide whether they had experienced any of the various forms of sexual harassment. Now, that includes having somebody make sexual comments about the kid, being called gay or lesbian in a negative way, being touched in an unwelcome sexual way, being shown sexual pictures they didn't want to see, or being the subject of unwelcome sexual rumors. Now, this is, for real, this is really getting to the point, truth seekers, where it's under the radar, but it is a subtext of criminal activity in this country that is I think it's getting way out of hand. A. B, it's being promoted by religion and by Republicans. I'll get to that in a second. Oh, religion and Republicans. Here he goes again. All right, well, just hold your tongue until we get to that part, okay? The survey quoted one ninth-grade girl as saying she was called a whore, quote, because I have many friends who are boys, end quote. A 12th grade boy said schoolmates circulated an image showing his face attached to an animal having sex. It's that kind of stuff. When you hear that, when you read it, you go, oh, well, big deal. So his picture was on an animal having sex. Nobody knows, or nobody believes that to be true. Really? In all, according to the survey, 56% of the girls and 40% of the boys said they had experienced at least one incident of sexual harassment during the school year. And here's to me, this is a bad part. After being harassed, part of the bad part. I mean, the bad part is harassment at all. But then there's this. Half of the targeted students did nothing about it after being harassed. Of the rest, some talked to parents or friends, but only 9% reported the incident to a teacher, a guidance counselor, or other adult at school, according to the survey. Now, the reasons you can guess for not reporting, the kids doubt that anybody would do anything, or they were afraid it would make the situation worse if, if you're a rat, you're going to suffer twice as much, right? And concerns about the adult's reaction, the person they reported it to. In so many instances, especially with girls, the victim is considered to have done something to entice the perpetrator. That's so old, it's disgusting. I mean, we know all this, right? Now, this report comes out at a time when the problem of bullying at schools is definitely in the spotlight, in part because of recent suicides. Those suicides were usually of gay kids who were being mercilessly harassed by other students in the school. And it's my opinion, I don't have anything to back this up, but I'll say it anyway, and I'll back it up in a few minutes, that most of the kids doing the harassing of gay students have parents who are Christians, who pump this sick Christian dogma into these kids' heads, especially where it concerns gay kids. You know, the non-gay kids are told all this hate-filled religious garbage about, the Bible says this and the Bible says that. And it's not just Christians, although to the greatest extent, because after all, this is a Christian nation, right? And that's part of the price of entry of being in a Christian nation. You have to expect that if you happen to be gay or lesbian, and evangelical Christians hear about it, they're going to make your life almost unbearable. Orthodox Jews get into this, so do Orthodox Muslims, but not to the extent that Orthodox Christians do. We all know this. The American Association of University Women, AAUW, the report observes that sexual harassment and bullying can sometimes overlap, such as the taunting of kids who are perceived to be gay or lesbian. But there are some important distinctions. For example, there are some state laws against bullying, but serious sexual harassment at a level which interferes with the student's education is prohibited under the federal gender equality legislation known as Title IX. And the report goes on to say, quote, too often the more comfortable term bullying is used to describe sexual harassment, which obviously hides or obscures the role of gender and sex in these incidents. That's according to the report. The report also said, quote, schools are likely to promote bullying prevention while ignoring or downplaying sexual harassment, end quote. Now, our daughter, Molly, who goes to public school, it's, I think they have a couple of preschool classrooms in this public school, but primarily it's kindergarten through 5th grade. And you cannot walk through that school 10 feet without signs on the walls of the hallways and in the classrooms, repeating over and over and over and over and over that bullying or harassment of your fellow student or racial slurs or calling people name calling, all this stuff is not allowed in the school, absolutely not allowed. And of course, the staff, the teaching staff, the administrative staff, parents who are active in the school, as Kathy and I are, and lots of other parents, we make it very clear that bullying is simply not allowed. Now, these are kids who are in primary schools, so the idea of sexual harassment hasn't raised its ugly head yet. According to this report, that happens in middle and high school. Now, I've got some more to say this when we come back, so stick around, because I think part of the problem comes from religion and right-wing politics. You may disagree, but stick around, listen.